to focus. You're dealing with so many things like storytelling and how to talk in front of an audience and how to build a speech. But I wanted to start with like a few top tips for the perfect pitch, because I know everyone is more or less asking about it. For sure, if you're an entrepreneur, if you're a leader, if you're just trying to pitch an idea to your boss, whatever, it's so important.
Yes, and it's interesting the use of the word pitch, because we tend to think about it lately as the startup pitch, or the pitch
Right.
when you come and you have a short amount of time to sell your idea. And I really think that we that the pitch is something we do all the time. A job interview is a pitch. Any request for additional funds from our board is a pitch. An IPO roadshow is a pitch. All of that, anytime that we have limited amount of time and we want to move our audience or convince them of a new idea, I see it as a pitch. Even a job interview, even selling ourselves. So you asked me something that also I found interesting, which is looking for that perfect pitch. And I think that one of the things that maybe also something that can be alleviating for the audience is I don't think we need to strive for perfection. I don't think perfect is the ultimate goal. I would suggest rather than perfect, maybe ask for what would be the most effective pitch, what would be the most memorable pitch I can make. Um, and because I haven't seen an audience say, "Wow, yes, I'm going to buy into this idea because the pitch was perfect." That's
Yeah.
usually not, and there's a gap between what we look for as speakers, what we think is our goal, versus what the audience really looks for.
Sure.
So you wanted how many tips for the perfect, for the most
Let's
effective?
let's go for 3 to 5. I think it's a good start.
It's a good start. So it's yes, you want me to condense everything to five. That's
That's why I
nobody
started with this
listen.
one.
um so if you think about communications as strategy, content, and delivery, let's look for a tip on each, a tip or two on each.
Great.
So in strategy, I would say the number one tip that I would give people is don't just have one pitch or one text to rule them all. Really think strategically before every meeting, every call that you have, every interview. Think strategically about that specific situation and how to adjust your baseline story. For example, there's a few things to think about. The basic one is you want to move your audience towards your goal. So the more that you can define what's the goal, and the more that you can understand who's the audience, this specific audience, the more there are chances that will succeed. So that's strategy, one small
Yeah.
yet long tip. As
Yeah.
far as content, um, I would say, well, there's so much about content, but one of them would be in this era of collective ADHD and multiple messages, it's really hard to cut through the noise and to be memorable.
Right.
So, the more that you're clear about what is, if you had to say your message in one sentence, what would that be? What would be the inevitable conclusion? The more chances are that you'll be able to communicate it in a way that will be sharp and the audience will remember. So that, as far as content, there's a universe to talk about, but I'll I'll,
Yeah.
I'll start with that. And finally, as far as delivery, because uh, as much as your strategy can be great and your content is fabulous, eventually it's about you and about how you show up. So, as far as delivery, there's again a universe. But one thing that I would say is really a must that a lot of people neglect is rehearsal. Is rehearsal out loud, ideally in front of people, not in front of the mirror, because the mirror is not, it gives us information that's not very useful. But catch someone in your team, catch a friend, an aunt in a family dinner, and say, hey, do you have 5 minutes? I want to rehearse. So with the first time you say it out loud is not in the time where it's most high stakes.
Yeah. But we talked about in the past, there is this limit. So how much rehearsal do you want to have? In and how much like sometimes it pumps you up with energy and you're a bit anxious because you're rehearsing it again. What is that like golden line that you're saying like that's the best time to say, yeah, I'm ready? Because you could say I'm never ready and still be anxious when you're coming to talk, right?
And by the way, it's okay. It's okay if you're nervous when you're coming to talk. There's Um, a second grader once asked Meryl Streep, she was speaking to second graders, and he asked her, do you still get nervous before you go on stage or before you film? And she said, the moment that I stop getting nervous, I'll quit this profession. And it's really
Yeah.
because it means that it's important to us. So it's okay to be nervous. Let's not, I would say, don't rehearse until the point that you're indifferent. If you're indifferent, nobody cares.
Yeah.
It's so personal, the thing with rehearsals. I would say it's really personal. Some people, they like to rehearse for, Steve Jobs used to rehearse for 2 or 3 days straight and for weeks
Wow.
in advance. So he feels like the extreme to one end, and then there's some people for once or twice that they just say the text or they say the ideas, that's enough for them. I think you have to find your sweet spot.
The thing